Hi everyone, it's another day, another podcast here at the Zipporra Studios. I hope everyone is doing absolutely well today. It's been a week, and as promised, I am back with another podcast episode here at the studio. It's going to be a weekly thing, like what I told you the last time in our previous episode, our premiere episode actually. And yeah, I am back with another Am I the Asshole commentary, reaction, sharing of opinion podcast. Am I the asshole for only paying for my wife and I at a restaurant? I, 24 male, and my wife, 24 female, are newlywed couples. My wife has four friends who she has been recently close with since high school. For a celebration, my wife decided to go to an expensive steakhouse. The day comes and we go in separate cars there. We all eat and my wife slides the bill 700, I'm going to assume dollars, $700 plus, and proceeds to say, the man should always pay for the wife and her friends. I laugh awkwardly, saying, why? She says, because I'm the man. I tell her that the only person I would pay for would be you and me. Her friends proceeded to laugh at me, calling me a broke husband. I stand up and put two $100 bills for me and my wife's food and leave. My wife gets home and starts screaming at me, saying I made her feel embarrassed, how she promised her friends I'd pay, and that her friends made fun of her on the ride home for marrying a man who can't pay the bill. I decided to pack a bag and head to my friend's house. I told my parents, friends, and they say I should have just paid it. Now I'm having second thoughts if I overreacted. Am I the asshole? So he's put like some edits here because obviously people on the comments were like having like follow up questions. So that I'm just going to read as well what those edits are. So the first edit will be like, hi guys, I've read someone comment if my wife has ever acted like this, and she never has. That's why I just laughed awkwardly. The only other time she did this was when I didn't buy her mom food, which happened when we first started dating. And it was the first time she ever screamed at me like that. Instead of escalating it, I just left. And when we do argue, it's not a screaming match. For how long we have dated, I've known her since freshman year of high school and got together junior year. Dated for 8 plus years. I read some comments and decided to go to talk to her tomorrow about what happened, why she did that, etc. I do recognize that I didn't pay the full amount of me and my wife's dinner. I do take fault in that. I should have added another $50 to $75 to make it the price of two people. For the people who say I forgot to tip, I go there regularly with my coworkers, each pay for their own plate, and always leave a good tip. Now, my take on this one is that he is not the asshole. In this situation, it would be his wife and his friends who are the assholes. Like, seriously, let's just put this in any situation, whether you are married or not. If you plan of, okay, if I was the one who made, if it, well, hold on. Let me just try to put this perfectly in a sentence. So we were the group of friends. We went out. Normally, obviously, if you're the one who said like, "Oh, let's all go," it's kind of like understandable that some of them may think that, yeah, I'm gonna be paying for it. But let's just highlight the first one on the first sentence or first paragraph here: expensive steakhouse, expensive, right? And then the other one will be, um, the man should always pay for the wife and her friends. I have never heard of anything like that before. The man should always pay for the wife and her friends. Like, I personally don't even think that it always has to be the man that has to pay for, like, when you're going out. It doesn't really necessarily have to be like, oh, you always have to like split the bill, because that's kind of like weird. But there can be a discussion between a couple if they are of going to pay. Like, if you're married to a man like Elon Musk, okay, fine, it's understandable that they have to pay all the time. they're freaking rich, right? But if like on a normal person, a normal couple, um I don't even know if are these people rich or no. I have no clue. But let's just say like they're regular people working day jobs, whatever, middle class. I think it's just understandable that um there are times that the wife will pay, the husband will pay. They just have to have that agreement. Now let's also proceed to the part that he was not informed prior to going to this expensive steakhouse that he's gonna be the one paying for it all. Okay, given that we're saying that they're newlywed couples and for a celebration, to, does that mean that they're celebrating them being newlywed? Maybe that's the reason why the wife thought that, oh, you have to pay for it because this is like a celebration of their wedding. Sorry, like I thought I heard something weird, so I just had to like kind of like stop and listen. But anyways, going back. But still, regardless, if he is not aware, the wife could have told him prior. Because what if the guy doesn't have like $700 to like spend right away during that time? You should, the wife should have thought about the fact that you don't want to put your husband in a situation that's also going to embarrass him. See, she only thought about, oh, she is embarrassed because her friends were like making fun of her marrying a man who can't pay the bill. But did she even consider what her husband felt? Like like how her husband would have felt if he didn't have $700 to pay for this meal. She didn't. So personally speaking, if this happens and if this keeps happening, I don't think this relationship will last. If she's always going to put him in a situation that, like in an awkward situation, and then if she's not going to defend him, like with her friends, because I mean, I 100%, like the friends are definitely going to be gossiping about the husband, with or without the wife around. And if she doesn't defend him, that's also a problem. But anyways, that's outside of this "Am I the asshole?" post. So yeah, going back, it would have in this situation, he's not the asshole. It would have just been better if the wife told him prior to going to this restaurant, and then he could say, "Oh yeah, I really don't have $700 to dispose of right now. Maybe we can just like go somewhere else that's less expensive. That's not as expensive as this steakhouse or whatever." But she just like surprised him. So you can't really say, like, you can't argue or you can't blame him for reacting this way. That's just my opinion on this one. I don't think it's always the guy who has to pay. It depends on the agreement, or like it doesn't have to be an agreement written in contract or whatever, but like on your discussions with your significant other, you can alternate paying for meals. That's how I will do it. That's my opinion of it. Anyways, let's see what other people has to say. Let's see if somebody's going to disagree with me and agree with the fact that a man has to pay for his wife and his friend and her friends. Okay. Not the asshole. Your wife should have talked to you about it before telling her friends you'd pay, not assume. Exactly. Dude, everyone in this scenario is an asshole except you. Wow. The audacity to just casually push over a $700 bill and then say, well, the man should always pay for his wife and her friends. It sounds to me like your wife doesn't want a spouse. She wants a sugar daddy who will treat her and her friends. And when you pushed back, she blew up in an attempt to manipulate the situation in her favor by playing on your emotions. You embarrassed me. Your family and friends must think that emotional and financial abuse, guilting you and trying to force you to pay for her and her friends with no prior warning is cool, huh? Get better friends and seek marriage counseling or a divorce if this is a frequent behavior. Not the asshole in the slightest. Not the asshole. Stay at your friends and tell your parents to F off. She married a human, not an ATM. I'd file, to be honest. Right away, hey, not even like giving it a chance or something. Um, Not the asshole. You need to educate your wife. I will bet money she thinks that what she earns is hers alone and what you earn she's entitled to. I feel like it's most likely that way. Did you spoil her when you were just like dating? I'm not. Super not the asshole. If she expects you to fork out an extra $400 to $500 for her friends, she should have asked ahead. This was an absolute gold digger move by her. Is this really who you intend to spend your whole life with? Moreover, how much would she have lost if you ask how much fun the one man or okay, I'm trying to be clean here. Let's skip that part. Um Somebody said, I am so proud of you. Not the asshole. Your wife should have asked you beforehand, and then she should have been aware. We weren't paying for her friend's meal. Her friends also sound awful, by the way. You aren't a walking ADM benefiting her circle of mean girls. Yes, exactly. Like I said, if the two of you talked about this prior and you agreed, and then suddenly during that time you said no, okay, like you probably are the asshole, but that's not the case. She didn't tell you. So now it backfired on her, and she really doesn't have any right to get mad at you. That's my opinion of this. Okay? Whoever you are, find a better woman, not a gold digger. Because that's what she seems like.